You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media West of Scotland Football Show, and the first one of 2023. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always, and Happy New Year to all our viewers. It is a pleasure this week to be joined by the fourth Wanderers manager. It's a pleasure to welcome Thomas Devine. Thomas, Happy New Year, and thank you very much for coming on the show.
Happy New Year, Scott, and thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on as well. Obviously, it's been a bit of a weird time for the West in general, but obviously Forth as well. We were saying just before we came on here, been early December since it's been a competitive game, and obviously it was hopeful the first game of the new year was going to be the cup game against Chapel. That was obviously called off. It's been a running theme for you. How difficult has it been to get the players on top with a difficult kind of December, and obviously the weather playing a part?
Very frustrating in terms of our last competitive game, as you say, 3rd of December at home to Craigmark. We were on a good run, 6 games undefeated, and you kind of want to build momentum. And we've now had it's 4 games, 2 aways, 2 homes, and a cup game called off. And it's not a lot you can do, but it's also disturbing your training as well. That's the other thing. It's like the facilities closing down and the Christmas break and stuff like that. But we've managed to keep the guys turning over. A good group. They're very fit boys, and most of them are into going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. So the fitness side, the natural fitness side, isn't too big a concern. We managed to squeeze in a friendly with Carluke around about 28th of December, but you just want to get back to that routine. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and hopefully picking up points. We just want to be playing football on a Saturday, and there's nothing worse. I've been going to games, different games the last couple of weeks, and as much as it's nice, I'd rather be watching Forth play.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's as well when you're on that good run. Obviously, we're just looking here. 26 points with 14 games, won the last 4 league games, things like that. A really good run before this. It's difficult to, as you say, kind of keep that momentum going after when you've had so many call-offs. But how you must be delighted with the start of the season. Only 3 points off Renfrew at the top of the league. You must be delighted though. At the start of the season, if I'd said to you, you'd be sitting in 26 points with 14 games, you would have snapped my hand off for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you said at the start of the season, especially after the first 4 games, we're sitting with 4 points. Mm-hmm. And we hadn't been playing badly. We'd been playing pretty similar. We were embedding some new players in, and we were still finding our feet. But to take in 22 at the next 30 points of new level has been really, really positive. And as I say, it's one of the leagues that you could go 4 or 5 games and lose. So to get that 4 or 5 games and be winning, and we're winning, I think 7 of the games we've won so far this year, maybe 1 goal. I think that's just the nature of the league as well. But like, we're up there, and with you've got to be delighted with that. You've got to be pleased with that. And we know we've got a good group of players, but you just don't know how you're going to, after going through the conferences last year, how it was going to kind of pan out. And so to be up there at the right end of the tables, a real positive for the club.
And when you obviously mentioned the conference last year, you were obviously in Conference A. Probably, in fairness, unlucky not to maybe get into the top 4. But when you see the depth of the leagues, particularly the second division, obviously that you're in, the conference system's kind of worked out well because, as you say, it is a competitive league. You look at some of the teams round about St Anthony's, Ashfield, Maybole, Craigmark. There's a lot of teams in there who are just every week. It's hard opponents, isn't it?
Oh, there is no easy games, and I think the conferences have actually, like you say, worked really well. And I think most teams have found their level in terms of like where they would have been this year, and it's really good. You talk about like St Anne's, we've been in the same trajectory as them in terms of we both started at the bottom division, had decent seasons in the conference, and we're now sitting 26 points after 14 games each. So everybody in that league can beat everybody. As I say, most of the games you're looking at, and you'll see at the game of the day, it's the odd goal here, the odd goal there, and it shows like it's out with the norm when you see a team losing by a couple. And I actually think that any team in the league's capable of going 5-6 games. So as much as we're quite happy to be in the top half of that table, you're kind of looking on your shoulder as well and hoping to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously as well, the Cottagers were meant to play on Saturday again from Chapel, but the first round was obviously a dramatic affair, winning 9-8 in penalties away to Peters Hill after a 2-2 draw. That must have given you a lot of confidence as well that you can take a game to a Premier Division side. And obviously it was the finest of margins to win the game, but it must have been a huge buzz for the team to get that result in the end.
It was a good day. That in terms of we actually sometimes obviously you go and you sit and you have to fit, but we played really well that day. We actually went into a 2-0 lead and we probably chances to go and probably if we'd got another goal maybe finish the game there and then, but Peters Hill came back, they've got the quality, they're in the Premier League, good players. They came back and as I say, second half was probably a lot more eachy peachy, but to go and get and we've got a habit of that now in terms of the cup games because we beat Nielsen and I think it was 10-9. We went into Whifflets in the next round of the Strathclyde Cup was like 9-8
Yeah.
So we've kind of had our fair share of good cup results this year. The one maybe blip in the cups was away to Troon, where we just didn't get it right that day, and just I think everything that could go wrong kind of did. But we've actually had a really good sort of spell in the cups as well, and against hard opposition because we've never really had them in our league or below. It's always been teams in the top divisions that we've been playing. So it's been a positive season so far.
One player that stood out when you just look at the stats and goals and things like that is Jay Keenan. How big a player's he been? Obviously 10 goals this season in the league. He's been up amongst one of the top goal scorers in the whole of the West at this season so far.
I need to keep that quiet, Scott. I don't know if we want to be advertising that. No, Jay came in from Johnstonborough, where he kind of mixed between the under-20s and the first team. We were delighted to get him on board. He's quick, he's very dynamic, and he's got a real eye for goal. And he's scoring fair out wide. You know, he's had a few games in the centre, the striker position, but in the main it's been for the right. So we're delighted, as I say, again, we brought in 4 or 5 young guys from 20s and different sort of background, but young players, and you don't know how they're going to react and stuff. And I think with Jay, he's got a real good chance of going up in the divisions and going maybe a better level of football. But hopefully he'll be before for another maybe season or two. But as I say, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to go in and play a better level of football.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good player as well. There's a lot of players kind of like Jay who are just really kind of standing out. We'll move into talking about the kind of action over the weekend. As we say, we did have a few call-offs. Obviously, no surprise due to the weather. We're hoping kind of things will calm down a bit. One of the games is obviously your home game against from Chapel. It's difficult, obviously, because the game will get rearranged, but as you say, you just want to get the game done. From Chapel, obviously, going well in the first division. It must have been gotten to lose that game, but you must obviously get in it with a bit of confidence and a good run, and it's a cup game and anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think having it up at 4th as well, you know, we've been doing quite well at home, and I think it's just one of the, as I say, the guys have not really missed a beat much of the season, so you fancy your chances to get them to a game. Obviously, Drumchapel have got that wee bit of quality. They're doing really well in the league. They've got good players on the pitch. But as I say, you always fancy yourself. We always give yourselves a chance. And obviously now the draw's been made as well. If one of us get through, we're away to Hurlford, who are the holders of that cup. So it's another wee incentive. But we would have loved to have got on Saturday. As I say, most of the week it was touch and go, but the park was holding up. And unfortunately, it just kind of Friday in the area, we kind of been in a lot of games have kind of been lost at that in that area, so it's just a bit disappointing to have missed it.
Yeah, we'll go through obviously some of the results that did take place in the second round. Auchinleck beat Johnson 1-0. Shotts beat B 3-2 away. With obviously the big, I think one of the probably results of the weekend anyway. Gartcairn 5, Blantyre 0, Cumbernauld 3, Fanart 1, Glenafton 3, Kilburney 1, Hurlford the holders 3-0 win over Rob Roy, Kello 1, Neilson 5. Kilsyth Athletic 0, Clydebank 5, Kilwinning 5, Thorn 1. Ashfield beat Troon in penalties after a 2-2 draw. And St Cadoc's 1-4-1 away to West Park United. Thomas, there's a lot of results here, obviously, to talk about. We'll talk about the draw later on and see what ties stand out. But some big results here, which are kind of takeaways for the second round of the draw.
Well, I think Ashfield, obviously, the one that even any team for the lower divisions, if you like second divisions, been in there and they've beat Troon. We played Ashfield and we played Troon, both very good teams. Ashfield, one of the top scorers in their leagues, and they're always capable of causing. I think going in, they would have fancied that probably, being underdogs and going up there, but they've won in penalties. Probably disappointed because I think they were 2-1 up and they've ended up losing a goal. But to go and win it in penalties, they'll be happy, and that's a standout for me.
There's a lot of takeaways. Obviously, the kind of Premier Division teams winning well, like a Clydebank going to Kilsyth and winning 5-0, Kilwinning, Jack McMahon with a hat trick for Kilwinning, a 5-1 win over Thorn. Glenafton beating Kilburnie is one that stands out because I think Kilburnie are obviously going through a change of manager, maybe not a change of personnel. Obviously, with Sean being there as before with Tommy, but it's been a kind of upheaval in the past few weeks at Kilburnie, but. Glenafton, I think that's a result Glenafton needed because they've struggled in times to get wins on the board. They've just been a lot of times you hear about Glenafton, they maybe aren't exciting to watch, but a win at home to Kilburnie, who are sitting kind of in a good position in the division below, can do you a lot of good in the league campaign, especially when you're leading the wins.
Oh, aye, and I think that it's a kind of wee boost if you're kind of on a wee run and you go and get a victory. And Kilburnie obviously were relegated to the Premier Division, so. And there's not a lot of difference in that bottom half of the Prem to the top half of the Division 1. So I think Kilburnie would have been up for that. They'd have probably seen that as an opportunity. So for Glenafton to come through that 3-1 and and it was a tight game, 2-1 at half time as well. So they'll be delighted to get that over the line in the next round as well. And they'll maybe fancy it because there is an opportunity in that cup. I think there's a couple of big hitters that are in there as well. So they'll fancy maybe going a bit deep into that tournament.
Yeah, Glenafton will play Auchinleck in the next round as well. Auchinleck, a lot of talk coming after the game about the performance of the referee, but again, we could probably have conversations. We're having conversations at every level about referees, but again, Talbot, I don't think Johnson would have made it easy for them. It's one of the, obviously Shanker's got the goal. It's difficult because Auchinleck, they're used to winning cups and things like that, but I think Johnson, by all reports, Johnson made them work really hard for that.
And I think that's the thing. Johnston Borough are a very good team as well. Jamie is the progress they've made in the last 5 years, and Jamie does have them playing football. You know, they play for the back. They've got good movement in their team. So for what I've read online and stuff like that, that's been a really close game. But again, ultimately, Talbot do what Talbot kind of do. I mean, we've had them in a few times in the cup ourselves, away from home in the last couple of. I think we got beat last year in the cup with them 1-0, and you come away going you're unlucky and you've created, but they always seem to find a way, you know, and that's what a good team does, and they've been a top team for a number of years. And Johnston Borough will be delighted that they've went up there and competed and challenged, but they'll also. Jamie will be gutted. I think knowing how competitive he is, he'll be raging that they've not managed to take some for that and take it to penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. Shots went to be them 1-3-2 as well. A tight game, Bill reports. Shots took their chances as well. Bede, probably a lot of people I spoke to say Bede were probably unlucky not to get something as well. Just one of the games that can go either way, but two decent sides, and Shots just were a better team on the day.
Yeah, 2 penalties as well. I've seen the highlights were up. 2 penalties. I think the 2 of them look penalties for the highlights as well. But Shots are an experienced team, and I know they were in their conference last year, and John obviously had to add to the squad a wee bit, and they've kind of been up and down a wee bit maybe in the league, but they're still in about the right area in the league, and they'll be delighted with that to go away and beat, because Beaver are a good team, and the boy Fowler's scoring a lot of goals with them as well, and they've kept him reasonably quiet, which has helped. But good goal late on after getting 2 each to win the game, and High Shots are another good team, another really good team, so they'll be delighted with that.
An all first division tie saw Gartcairn play Blantyre Victoria. Gartcairn won 5-0. It's that league. We talk about it all the time. We're on here. It can produce some. I know it's obviously a cup game, but 2 first division teams, and when they play against each other, anything can happen. But ball reports, Gartcairn were magnificent on the day. Yeah,
and I think John at Blantyre will be disappointed, obviously, with the scoreline. I think again Blantyre and again some of the other teams, they've not had games in the last wee while as well, so you just don't know how maybe that first game is going to be with your players coming back. And I think the the scoreline obviously is quite emphatic, 5-0, but again at 1-0 it was a missed penalty for Blantyre, and wee things on the day maybe go against you, and they say they will bounce back, and no doubt be they're doing well in the league as well. So, but Gartcairn again, they have invested a lot in their team. It's often talked about, but you need to go and make a squad out of that. Doesn't matter how much money you spend, go to play, and they'll be delighted. And as I said, they're kind of one of the kind of teams that are kind of excelling in the pyramid, if you like, finding their place up in the division. So it's a very comfortable victory in the end up. But as I say, never know 1-0 penalty, how the game might be different.
Yeah, absolutely. But some big results, obviously. We'll talk a wee bit about the draw that's been made. The draw was made on Sunday. We'll just go through the games and we'll get your thoughts. Shotts play Gartcairn, another all first division tie. Neilston play Yoker or Rosfell. That game was postponed. Rutherglen play Craigmark. Auchinleck play Glenafton. Ashfield will play either St Rochs, East Kilbride Thistle or BSC Glasgow. Hurlford will obviously play either yourselves or Drumchapel United. Clydebank play Cumbernauld, and Kilwinning versus St Cadoc's. What tie kind of stands out of them? There's a couple in there.
Yeah, I think for me, Shotts and Gartcairn, the one you sort of say that right at the start, obviously quite local to each other, played each other a couple of times in the last couple of years, tight games, and two teams with a bit of, will have ambition to go and go into the tournament and look to win it. So that one probably for me, and obviously the all-important one when we hopefully come through with Drumchapel, we can go away to Hurlford. They beat us in the last year's 3-1, so that it would be quite good to get through that and go and get an opportunity to get a bit of revenge on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. A tie that stands out to me, Kilwinning against St Cadoc's too. I think that could be a really exciting team. Big win for Kilwinning, obviously. They've maybe struggled a wee bit in the league, but just to get the 5 goals and things like that tie could be really good because they're two really good sides.
Two really good sides, and St Cadoc's have obviously really been in form as well. Kilwinning, I think, probably a wee bit, say maybe a false position for a lot of people's eyes in that league, and David Gormley will get them going again, so that'll probably be one of the big ties that people will look out for. And as I say, anything because St Cadoc's again are probably a Premier League team in waiting, so that'll be a really good tie.
Yeah, big weekend in the Cup. We'll move into league. We did have some league action over the weekend. We'll start in the Premier Division. League leaders Dartford went 5 points clear at the top, a 5-1 win at home to Petershill. 5 different goal scorers: Mackenzie, Kirkpatrick, Ferguson, Allen and McShane. We speak about Dartford all the time. They're now, obviously, that's a 4th win in a row in the league, and obviously they extend their lead at the top. My thing with Dartford is always the same, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is that when you've got the level of depth they have, and you can see you've got 5 different goal scorers, they've just got so much in the squad. And when you Petershill, they're probably expected to win the game, but when you're spreading goals out like that, it only just leads you on to they're in good stead. They're in a good position, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think when you look at it, 5 different goal scorers, the depth of their squad, the guy, the defender back, David Simon. Last year they started slow, and obviously the second half of the season they got up there and won the league. This year it's probably a wee bit daunting, the fact that they've no kind of took the foot off. That they're really kind of on top of it. They've maybe opened a wee small gap. I know Talbot have got some games in hand. Clydebank will get some games to make up, but you can know they're going to keep getting stronger. Petershill probably. They were on a wee run in the league, and that probably the last fixture they might have wanted. They drew 2-1, and obviously with the management change, things are looking a wee bit more promising. But that must have been the tie you wouldn't have wanted to go away to Dartford when you're trying to build a bit of momentum. But as you say, that it's quite scary that they can turn up and probably pick 2 or 3, 4, 5 different teams and still have the same outcomes. And I've been listening to obviously the post-match for McKenzie. I think they were 4-0 up at half time, and he said that he felt that they maybe kind of did lose a wee bit of focus and stuff like that. And that's the kind of levels they'll be talking about how they want to go in 90 minutes, and they want to kind of don't take your foot. We've trained up near them, and the training just different. You can different level, and the movement and the touch and actually the hunger you can see in the training film. So I think they are looking very good.
Yeah, they're looking very good. As I say, 5 points. Big game on Friday night away to Kilwinning as well. That'll be a big test. Irvine Meadow beat Cumnock 2-1 at home. Big result for them. Graham and Boyd with the goals for Irvine Meadow. It was a tight game. Two sides probably in a similar position in the league. Irvine Meadow now go to 20 points from 13 games. Cumnock sitting in 18 points from 12 games. Again, Irvine Meadow at the start of the season, obviously they had a difficult start. Obviously the management change. They've not won in the last 4 games in the league, but that'll be a big 3 points for them on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, that same leapfrogged into fourth over very similar. I think, again, I was listening to Brian talking about Cumnock, and he was saying that obviously can't give teams 2 goals at a start in this league, and I think he probably has been bemoaning a bit about the kind of the softness of the goals that we're losing as well, and he'll be gutted with that. I suppose they're very strong at home. Cumnock, their home form's been really good. But George Gearson's in Irvine Meadow, and they seem to have kind of steadied the ship a wee bit, as you say. But it's good because they've had a four there, 4 in the bounce without anything. So that would have been really important for them. And like again, you talk about the guys at the right end of the pitch. Callum Graham's been scoring goals now for a number of years, came to the lower leagues and keeps scoring. And the goal, seen the highlights in the goal. The second goal is an absolute peach for the Boyd. I think with the many goalkeepers they've got that.
I mean, Callum Graham's been probably one of the top players in that Irvine Meadow team this season so far. I mean, it's games like that though. Like both sides, it's probably leads to show you how tight that league is. That both sides would have been thinking we can win this, and it's just who's better on the day. It just means that the leagues are so competitive, and you see that just with how tight everything is at both ends of the table, really. And again, these are 2 really tight teams, and again, it shows you how kind of tight the league is. But another game that was 4 goals in it. Cambuslang Rangers 2, Largs Thistle 2. Again, Cambuslang, they got the 2-game win run, then lost the last 2, then they've got a draw. It takes them to 8 points from 13 games. Largs in a good run, 17 points from 14 games. They're going up the league. 2-2, probably a fair result when you speak to a lot of people. A really good goal for Cambuslang for Grant Brennan, if you've seen that. Again, a tight 2 teams, probably a point would have probably been the right result.
Yeah, I think obviously Cambuslang will maybe feel a bit being at home. They fancied that. They beat Largs away from home at the start of the year, so they'd have probably been hoping to earmark that as that, especially when you're down there looking for points. But as you say, they've come back twice. You know, they've been behind twice as well. So that probably in reflection, he'll be sitting maybe a point, quite happy to come away with a point and been behind twice. But it doesn't take much, as you sort of say. Lads are probably sitting there now, 17, looking quite. But again, it could be easily getting through into that bottom end of the table as well. So like the Cambuslang, if it bounced back for a 7-0, I think it was important for them to get some on Saturday. They've got a young squad as well. I know they've had a wee bit of disruption in terms of comings and goings and stuff like that. But Billy Campbell, Paul, they won that conference and done well last year in the conferences. They'll be still looking at how do we get climb out of this bottom 3. So that'll be interesting. The 2 teams on the next couple of weeks, how their form goes. Yeah,
definitely. We'll move into the final game in the Premier Division. Atherley 0, Pollock 0. I spoke to a couple of people at the game and they said it was a fair result because nothing happened. Again, though, probably when you kind of listen to interviews of both managers, obviously Pollock sitting in 3rd, Atherley sitting in 12th. Again, they would have both been thinking they could get a win, could have put them in a better position. But when it's 0-0 and not a lot happens in the game, you can't really argue with the point, can you?
No, and I think the highlights kind of showed that it was a really kind of the conditions were quite hard. It was a Towsy game, and probably it looked like for the highlights a point was maybe the fair result. I think Atherley had a couple of maybe slightly better chances than Pollock for what I could see. But as I said, Atherley haven't had a game in a long time as well. I think the manager was saying that it's been a good month since they've been able to do much competitively. So they'll probably be happy to get that under their belt. Pollock, if they had, I think Maxie was sort of saying that that was the worst he'd kind of had when he's been in there, and if that they've come away with a 0-0 clean sheet, and I think that's something like their 3rd clean sheet in a row. They'll take that if they're not played well. As I say, they're kind of probably needing the victories to kind of keep the pressure and keep kind of moving that where their ambition is. But as I say, probably point looked like a fair result and a good result.
Yeah.
End up
Yeah, absolutely. I think a point was probably a fair result for both sides. We'll move on to the first division. We had two games to talk about. We'll start at Rutherglen. Glencairn 5, Thornwood United 1. McElveen with a double, McManus, McBride and Fitzpatrick with the goals for Rutherglen. Obviously puts them level in points with Thornwood, but they're above on goal difference. Again, Rutherglen, I think Rutherglen would probably be disappointed they're not higher up the league so far this season, but when you can win 5-1, it's sort of you've no idea how good that can be to build confidence going forward, and a run could put them in a good position.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at it, they've 6 draws, something like that, and that's obviously why they're down there. It's small margins. We talked about it, maybe missed chance, a sloppy goal, but they'll be delighted to go and win. And Forney, they've got good players. I know Forney would a wee bit a poor run at the minute, but they've got quality all over the park. Lad we had last year, David Donnelly, DD, and the boy Ali Small scores goals. So that's a really good victory. Seen the highlights of that game as well, and I think it was 2 minutes in when Rutherglen scored, and I think that's the kind of things that kind of give you that wee bit of confidence, and then you do kick on as well. And credit to Forney, but they came back into it, got a goal back at 2-1, and probably had a bit another good chance before Rutherglen were up the park, and then got the third. And by all accounts, have went finished the game quite well. Rutherglen, as I say, very good team. I'm a wee bit like yourself, but surprised that they're no higher up. But I think they'll be able to kind of push on and hopefully try and get themselves up there challenging, because they'll not be ruling at anything either with the quality they've got.
Yeah, Thornwood, as we say, I don't think Jamie will be pushing the panic button just yet. Like, I know they're in the middle of a difficult run, but as we see with the next team we're going to talk about, all it takes is 2 or 3 wins and you can be right up the table. And Jamie, obviously, he's built a really good side there. A side that they work hard. Obviously, Ali Small will obviously get sent off at the weekend, but he's a massive player when he's on form and can score goals. And they've got some really good players in their attack. It won't be worrying too much. I wouldn't think. All it takes is just a couple of runs and it can turn around like that.
No, I think that's right. I think Jamie, they were probably, say, maybe surprised a few folk last year in the conference and got a double promotion at it. But I think they started to look well, and they'll kind of, and they'll be kind of looking at it as it wouldn't take much to change. I think when you're on a wee bit of a run, you need a wee bit of lucky break. Maybe need the first goal. You maybe need that kind of wee thing to go for you. And as I say, they've got good players across the pitch, so I kind of see them particularly sitting there hitting the panic button. I think Jamie and Chris Dolan, they'll turn that around. They'll turn that around and start to move up the table as well.
Yeah, a team that's in a really good run. They're now Benburb. They're now up to third in the league. We are a 2-1 win at home to Bonneton. Aaron Black and Lewis Lovering with the goals. Again, we speak about it a lot. 4 wins in a row. All it takes is that, and you can be right back up the table. And Benburb were struggling. Probably mid-November, I think they were probably sitting 14th at one point. They were in a really poor run, and they've kicked on. And as I say, they've got the players to do it, and that's a massive result. Bonneton have been in a good run as well, to be fair, but Benburb, big result again, puts them in third place, and they're now in a far better position than they were this time last month.
Yeah, and like you said, they've turned that corner now. Second in the forum table, if you like, in terms of where they are in the league, and they were 1-0 down by all accounts as well. Bonneton has come off the back of a good
victory. And down to 10 men.
10 men, and Bonneton had just come off a good victory where they'd won 1-0 away to Johnston. So you probably, if you're in that kind of run where you've had the 3 wins, it's maybe not necessarily something you're going to turn around, but I think the comments as the team spirit, they stuck together, they've battled out, and they've ended up with 2 good finishes and turned the game around, which I'm sure Ross at Bonington will be gutted. Have missed that opportunity, given that they're needing the points where they are as well. But as I say, that's a really good result for Benburb, especially down to 10 men so early in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Big result for Benburb as well. We'll move into the second division. I'm keen to get your thoughts on a lot of these teams here. Renfrew, the league leaders, obviously with a 1-0 win at home at Wishaw. A tight game, a big result for Renfrew. Kieran Diver with the goal. Again, with Renfrew, I think a lot of people would have said Renfrew are probably the favourites to win that league, but it's games like that when you're not playing well, when you can score late on. It's games like that make you that are the reasons kind of Renfrew are probably sitting top of the league.
Yeah, it's all right being favourites, but you still need to go and win the games.
Yeah.
one loss so far out of 12.
Yeah.
Going to be very, very hard to kind of to peg back. I know that there's good teams in this division. Like they'll drop points, and teams will be pushing them. We played them, get beat 3-1 up at Renfrew. Was really impressed with them. Took the lead, and we probably didn't play that well. I did give them a bit, maybe too much respect in it, but a lot of good movement. They play football. The Astro grass, the pitch that they've got probably suits how they want to play their game. So be interesting, obviously, coming into the winter when they're away from home in these heavy pitches and stuff like that, how that goes, because they're a very good football side, but I think they've probably got a fair bit about them in the mentality side of it as well, and the physical side of it. As I say, I watched them. It was Joker. Twice they came back for being 1-0 down, 2-1 down, and they've come back in the game late on 3-2. So I think that says everything you need about Renfrew in terms of their character and their belief in. Wish they were lost it the last time against Cooper South, but wish they're one of the teams that have got games in hand, and I would expect them. They've got a really good kind of player pool as well. You know, Cian Bryan up front score goals at any level at this, so that's a really big 3 points for Renfrew going win at home.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move into St Anthony's 4, Greenock 3. A really entertaining game, I think. If you're a neutral, you get your money's worth there on Saturday. Again, St Anthony's obviously go second, levelling points with fourth and above in goal difference. But again, St Anthony's, they've been in a good run as well. They'd won 5 out of the last 6, and it's games like that. I mean, winning 4-3 at home, it's a tight game. Both sides were scoring goals. That'll be a big win for St Anthony's, I would say.
Yeah, I was at that game on Saturday. It was a good game. Greenock put a lot into the game as well, and you probably, again, you're talking about when your luck's not on and maybe the breaks aren't coming. They'll be disappointed in terms of away from home, scored 3 goals, and they were well in the game, and they've lost 4 goals effectively for set place, you know. But what you say about St Anne's, as I say, they've came kind of for the same kind of. They've got very good players, great team spirit, and they're on a bit of a run. You can't, as I say, in that division now, they can go on a run, but St Anne's are right in that promotion picture. We play them in a couple of weeks away from home. We played them at home. We really close game. We scored in the last kick of the ball, just about to win 2-1, and the two of us were sitting. I think we had 4 points. They had 1 point at that point in the season. So it's amazing what a wee run can do in a bit of confidence. But St Anne's probably did deserve the 3 points overall in the game on Saturday. It was a good game of football. Probably Greenock just didn't get up, you know, for 3-1 and 4-2 then they kept finding that goal, but they probably, again, last 15 minutes didn't really create any sort of telling opening, so St Anne's were able to see the game out. But Danny's done a great job up at St Anne's, and certainly it'll be a tough game for us in a couple of weeks' time when we got there. Yeah,
we'll talk about that later on. Obviously, a big game in a couple of weeks. Maybole, a big 4-1 victory away to Maryhill for them. Obviously, keeps their unbeaten run going. They're now sitting in 5th. Maybole, again, Mick McCann with a double. Robert Patterson scoring goals. They've got a lot of talent up front, and as I say, when you can go to it's never easy to go to Maryhill, and especially scoring 4 goals, and that's a big result for Carlo and his team.
Maybole are a very strong team. That's another one that can influence, and they'll be looking at winning leagues and looking at promotion as well. We've probably too familiar with Maybole. We've played them at the last 2 seasons quite a bit, but it's really that, as I said, it's very unusual when you see a score 4-1 in their league, you know, something like that. Maryhill will be disappointed with that. I'm guessing at home, but they're a young squad, and the goals, I've seen the highlights of the goals that they conceded, but probably will be disappointed with the way they've lost the goals. But I'm sure Mark, as I say, we've played Maryhill. They're a good team. They can go on a run as well, you know. And just before the break, they had kind of get that good victory at Yoker away. So they'll be disappointed that they've lost the last 2 again. But Maybole are strong. As I say, we meant to play Maybole last week. And they've been a really good game. You know, it could be in, and as I say, we probably don't have much secrets for each other because we've played each other that often in the recent seasons. But certainly they'll be up there.
Yeah, they will that as well. A tight game between Glasgow United and Craigmark. Craigmark edged it out 3-2, and Liam Caddick's got a double for the visitors. But again, Craigmark, they're back to winning ways. They've not won in the last 4 games before that. Big result for them, 3-2. Glasgow United in a difficult run, but they'll take some encouragement the fact they scored 2 goals and they kept it tight against a very good Craigmark side.
Yeah, and I think they lost 2 early goals in the second half, wanted to go 2-0 and brought it back, and then Craigmark scored late on. So, the Glasgow United will be a wee bit gutted with that, and they seem to be falling the wrong side of the one goal deficits. And as I say, I know they find a few people in loan for winning, and they've been in the transfer market a wee bit recently as well. So again, we played them and they had a lot of chances against us. It was 3-1 we beat them, but it could again that game could have went either way, turning into a kind of half chance going in and stuff like that. So as I say, they'll be disappointed where they are, but they'll still have a bit of an influence across the second half of the season. Craigmark will just say be delighted because they've felt the rank side a couple of results as Ashfield themselves in recent games as well. So they'll be delighted to get the 3 points because that would have been all that really mattered on Saturday for them getting back onto the winning run. So they're a strong team. Ryan's good at playing really good football, and they can mix it up as well. And there's a lot to play for in the second half of the season, and Craigmark will be one of the teams that will be really again looking to go and push and get into the top 3 places.
Yeah, totally agree. Final result in the second division: Glasgow Uni 3, Glasgow Persia 2. Again, a game that probably could have went either way, but big result. Dylan Duncan with a double for the Uni side, obviously at home. Big result for them. Puts them now into 8th place in 19 points from 15 games. Second one in a row. Big result for Glasgow Uni.
Yeah, back-to-back home wins. I'd seen them a couple of weeks ago against the Deer, and they won 5-2. And I think Sean that day had said that they were poor that day, and it was quite disappointed. But Glasgow Uni, seen them against Wishaw as well, really good, especially at home. We beat them early on in the season, and nothing in it, game 1-0 penalty. But we were meant to go there obviously in the 7th, and it got changed for the cup. They were saying they had a lot of people missing. It's quite a funny one, obviously, with them because of the Christmas break, people being away and stuff. But they've got that strength and depth where they can have 7 changes, and go and beat a good Persia team. Then they're definitely going in the right direction. I think I'd read that Persia were going to 10 men early doors. I think it was a penalty and sending off, so that's obviously had an influence in the game. But as I say, talk about it, fine margins, and that's all it is. But credit to Persia for keeping in the game with 10 men, because that is a big park up at Airdrie. And the Glasgow Uni are well drilled, well coached in how to use the ball and move the ball and make it as big as possible. So it seems like the 2 teams have put in a performance there to make an entertaining game.
Yeah, and it's 2 sides that you would say probably at the start of the season that are certainly exceeding the expectations. I think a lot of people thought that both Glasgow sides would struggle to stay up, but one sitting in 6th, one sitting in 8th. They're sitting in really good positions in the league. We'll move on to the 3rd division. Ardrossan extended their lead at the top of the table to 4 points. Their 4th straight league win, a 5-2 win away to Calute Rovers. Again, Ardrossan, we talk about it a lot. There's so much firepower. 4 different goal scorers as well, but to look, it's never easy to go there and get a victory, and that they always keep it tight. They scored 2 goals as well. They'll take encouragement, but a big win for Ardrossan, and obviously puts them in a good position to gain promotion.
Yeah, that was a game I was at the week before. Was Ardrossan and Valley Clyde, and they're getting good victories. 3-2 away to Valley Clyde, 5-2 away to Carluke. I believe as well that the top goal scorer wasn't playing on Saturday, and they're signing for Girvan that scoring goals as well, wasn't he playing?
Yeah,
So again, if you've got that kind of strength to go and still go and score 5 goals, it's always a good sign. And there's the lad that was with Drumchapel in there, a bit of quality for them as well. They've put themselves in a great position, top of the league, obviously games in hand, and that is again, we're talking about the league's such a competitive league, top half and bottom half. Carluke will be really gutted. I know Paul well. Got a couple of other boys on loan up there as well. Getting back to 2 each. The win with them with their backs, who probably felt that they could go and win the game, and then they've lost a goal quite soon after getting back into it, and then lost that momentum again, and it's hard when you're doing it. It's hard to go and turn the games into victories. But as I say, Paul's working hard on that, and I know that the young team and they're kind of finding their feet a wee bit. But I kind of fancy them to be able to kind of move up that table a wee bit and get out of the trouble they're in, because one of the hardest bits is scoring the goals. They seem to be doing that enough, and if they can shut the back door and maybe tighten up at the back a wee bit, then I'm sure they'll start to turn some of these into victories.
Yeah, I think they will as well. We'll move into Port Glasgow 1-2 away to Lugar again. Two sides in a similar similar form. Port Glasgow, their third win in a row. They've been probably a side you would say like now they're beginning to pick up. They've been kind of up and down, but now they've been 3 wins in a row. They've got a lot of depth in there as well. They've got obviously Jamie McKenna scored again. He's been a big player for them so far this season. Puts them up to 8th, and as you say, they're with it, the amount of promotion places. There's 3 available. Again, they can put themselves in a good position if they keep this run going.
Yeah, that's it. They've been winning the games the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the management change as well at the start of the year, and I think the thing that stands out, just looking at them and not knowing too much about it, is that they've obviously conceding quite a lot.
Yeah,
and if they can kind of tighten up, they've obviously got the goals in them to go and be in that top 3, top 4, 5. So you just say the momentum's there now. So if they can keep kind of churning out the results, then they get themselves in the mix. It'll be a sore one for Lugar to take. I mean, they are doing in that kind of relegation kind of space. So now at home, they probably fancied that, and I think as well it was again tight game, wasn't it? It was 2-0 at half time. They'll get back in it and kind of maybe put a push on. Been to Lugar a few times, hard place to go, regardless of what they're in and stuff like that. So they'll be a wee bit disappointed with that. But as I say, Port Glasgow moving in the right direction now.
Absolutely. Another team that are doing well is Bellshill, a 2-0 win at home to Saltcoats, Craig and Markey with the goals. Again, Bellshill puts them in a good position. 2 wins out of the last 6. They're sitting in 15 points from 13 games. Again, like a lot of teams around about that side of the league, they just need to keep winning, just keep it going, and that's a big result at home.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the grounds guy as well, the groundsman at Bellshill, because it was one of the only games I think round about the Lanarkshire area that survived. It's just round the corner for me, and I was amazed that it did survive. But they've got it on. They've got the 3 points. Nearly and Dean that have been in there are doing a really good job. They've probably got a couple of games to catch up with other teams because they've been doing so well in the cup as well. Had the big result a couple of weeks ago in the cup against Kilburn, I'm sure it was.
Kilburn, yeah.
So they'll be delighted to go and get that game on and get the 3 points. And again, I wouldn't really let them go in a wee run because they've got a good bit of momentum, good players. Saltcoats probably, again, we've often kind of find that I know they've had their struggles in the last couple of years, and definitely a lot more competitive this year in terms of where they are. But again, they've went away from home 0-0 at half time, and they've not been able to maybe see that through. So again, young team probably learning the ropes a wee bit again and building up a bit of momentum. Hopefully they'll kind of find their feet soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move into the 4th division. 3 games to talk about. Friday night, St Peters won 3-0 at home to WOSFL Academy. St Peters sitting in 4th, obviously. They get back to winning ways. They hadn't won in the last 2, but they're in a good position. They're sitting in 25 points for 12 games. It's so obviously with 3 going up into the 3rd division, they'll be wanting to get as close to the top 3 as possible.
Yeah, I think that again, that's a really tight, that top 4 or 5. They'll all fancy themselves. I mean, Thorn will still fancy themselves to get in and about their BCS Glasgow and they detached for it as well. There's still a lot to play for, as I say, in the second half of the season. St Peters, quite a comfortable probably victory, 3-0 at home, 1-0 at half time. I think they had a good history behind them as well when they came into the West of Scotland, and a lot of the teams in this division have. And it's been interesting to see how they develop over the next couple of years and where they go and where they find their level is in it. But they're certainly adding some to the West of Scotland. WOSFL Academy, I know Graham Cairns, he was one of the co-managers up at 4 for myself. He's involved down there, and I know they've got a really young squad. And I think that's where they're kind of looking to try and build that and try to get a wee bit of experience in there. I'm sure Graham will get that moving in the right direction as well. But that'll be a sore one for them to have lost. But as I say, St Peters just need to keep doing what they're doing. They'll probably want league games on and want to try and close that gap a wee bit.
Three won 3-0 at home to Easterhouse as well. Three were our team. Obviously, that's their third straight league win. They're sitting in third in 27 points of 12 games. Again, they're sitting in third, but there's a wee bit of gap behind West Park and Kilsyth at the top. They're a team obviously coming in with a big reputation. They'll just want to keep going. They'll want to cut that gap as quickly as possible and just get further to the top two.
Yeah. I think their ambition will be to go up. I think their ambition probably would have been to try and win that league. They've came for, as you say, good reputation, South of Scotland League. Generally done very well in that league. So again, they're talking about they've only lost 3 games in that league. The top team, obviously, Kilsyth are unbeaten, and then West Park have lost once against Kilsyth, I think it was. So there's not a lot that will take that to kind of close that gap. Obviously, they've got each other to play, and when these top 3, 4, 5 teams play each other again, there's that opportunity. Freewood will be really kind of looking to try and go and get themselves in, and I think not just promotion, but they'll be looking to try and win that league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they will as well. Again, Kilsyth are sitting they're the only unbeaten team in the West. I think they're on some run as well. But again, it's just 3 will be wanting to get as close to the top 2 as possible. And one of the games of the weekend for me was Eglinton 3, Harmony Row 4. There's a lot of entertaining action took place on Saturday. This game, again, Harmony Row obviously go above Eglinton with that victory. They're now in 10 points for 12 games. Eglinton are now in 9 points from 11 games. Again, it's one of those, we spoke about it all night, that games can go either way, but big result for Harmony going to Eglinton and win.
Sounds a cracker. It sounds an absolute cracker. I've seen some of the comments on it as well. I think Eglinton had been saying that they were ruining missed chances. So that's the games that I've been at. Some of them, there've not been 7 chances in the game. Right. So for the fact that 7 goals and they've missed chances there, it must have been good entertainment for the people that were the spectators that were there. But sure say that moves here. Harmony Row a point above them. They've got a game in hand, but any bit of momentum, especially going away to a team that's above you in the league and going and getting 3 points. Harmony Row will be delighted with that. So as I said, goals make a wee bit of entertainment into it. If you're going to go and pay your money and watch a game, you want to see goals, and definitely wasn't the defences on tap, I don't think, but it would have been good entertainment.
Yeah, it was a good game by all reports, a big result for Harmony Row. It's a second one in a row. It's been a big weekend, obviously. We've got some form of action coming back, and obviously again for 4th, you'll just want a big couple of games coming up. We'll touch on them. Kilsyth away, Wishaw at home, St Anthony's away, and Renfrew at home, all into kind of early February. Again, they're 4 big games, but it's just about keeping that momentum going for you, isn't it? And getting obviously back in the pitch and keeping that good run going.
Yeah, getting the games on.
Getting the games on, yeah.
Getting the momentum, as I say, like you can prep, do all the bits and stuff like that. But again, how will the sharpness be that first game back? It's a massive game on the Saturday away. Kilsyth, one of the teams that beat us in the league at home. Carlo, who used to be obviously manager up at 4th, worked under Carlo, really knows his stuff, knows football inside out. It's going to be a really tough game. But we just need to keep. We know where our strengths are. We know what we've got about the squad. We'd really say a really good group of boys that all got ambitions to go and play at the best level they can. Some of parts they all fit together, you know. And I think for us, as you say, getting on the park in the first instance, keeping that momentum going, and we keep plenty of strengths and we keep doing what we're doing. I'm sure we'll have a say in what goes on in this league as well. So. I'll quite happily take another 7-1 one-goal wins that gets us the 3 points. But as I say, after the games you mentioned, I think we go some like 4 or 5 games away. So it's important that we keep the momentum going there 4 games, because after that in February, March, we've got a lot of tough games away from home. So it's really important that we hit the ground running when we come back after this wee mini enforced break.
Mm-hmm. Thomas, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the show. Thank you very much for going through the weekend result with me, and best of luck for the rest of the season at 4th. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me. I really honestly appreciate it, and you're doing a great job for the best of Scotland, so thanks.
Thank you, I really appreciate that. Thanks very much to everyone that's tuned in. Please follow our social media pages for consistent West of Scotland coverage, and obviously subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. Thanks very much. We'll see you soon. Cheers.